All right, we live. Praises. A shalom, shalom, Israel. Hey, first off, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. A shalom for all the brothers and sisters that's tuning in to Yahweh's Camp Wars on Wednesday. I'm Brother Yahshua by Yahweh.
Khan, I'm Brother Shalat by Yahweh.
Hey, Shalom. This your brother Shapar the Gadite. Shalom, Israel.
Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Kazak.
All praises, and we might have some other brothers that might tap in a little later, but we just go get started for right now. So, for all those who don't see the title of the lesson for the night, we go get into obviously that situation that happened last week. We are familiar with it. And we go get into some history about our forefathers in the scriptures, right? So first off, hey Salat, can you give me Genesis 11 and verse 1? And
Khan.
Kazak, can you give me Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7? Right. So we go all the way from the beginning and we go break down why these things is happening on the earth. Because like I said, a lot of our people, obviously everybody know what happened last week in Alabama. That's unless you living up under a rock, that's what everybody been talking about. Right. That's what you see all on the news, all on the media, right? When you go outside, people talking about it, right? So we go get the origins of why all these things is happening on the earth today, right? You got race wars stirring up. You got nations rising against other nations, right? So that's what we go get into tonight, going into the division of the other nations, war between all the nations, right? All right, so let me get there real quick to Genesis. Let me get there real quick. All right, so we gonna start off here in Genesis 11 and verse 1, and we gonna read down to 9.
Khan. Genesis 11 and 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar.
So
And
let's
they
stop right
dwelt there.
there. So it said, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech, right? So at one point in time, every nation on the earth was of one speech, right? It says, and the whole earth, and that's talking about all the nations, right? Because it's a difference between the earth and the world. You know how the Christians, where they go to the New Testament and they see the word world, and they say, see, that's talking about everybody. That's talking about all the nations, right? But when you read the book of Psalms, you go into the book of Psalms, it tell you that it's a difference between the earth and the world. So in this verse, it said the whole world. That's talking about every nation that's on the earth, right? The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, right? And for those who don't know, the land of Shinar, that's what they call Babylon, or another name was the land of the Chaldeans, right? It was also known as the land of the Chaldeans, right? So finish that off, King.
Khan. And they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and Slime had they for mortar, and they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city, and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one,
Wait,
and they
the
have,
Lord, hold on, the Lord said what?
behold, the people is one.
So the Lord said, behold, the people is one, right? So you got all these different nations under one accord, right? Like I said, all the nations had one speech, right? All the nations was under one accord, right? And that's why it's important why we bring these things out, because our people truly don't understand the things that's going on the earth, and they don't understand why these things happening, right? A lot of our people still brainwashed. They think that God love everybody, right? They think we are equal. They telling you in the church that everybody the same, and in the kingdom of heaven, all the nations gonna be equal and ruling on one accord. But that's not the pattern of the scriptures, right? So we go see how the Lord feel about this, right? The Lord said the people is one, so all the nations was under one accord. So let's see what the Lord did. Let's see if the Lord allowed this to continue, right? Because everybody in these last days, especially our people, they got that, well, let's all come together spirit, or everybody that's saying we are equal, right? So let's read on.
Con. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
Wait, read verse 7 again. So let's see what the Lord did when all these nations came under one accord. Hold on, Salaki, let me let this brother in real quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, Shalom, Captain Ram, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Rakatah. All right, so let's read verse 7 again.
Con. Verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
Right, so the first thing that the Lord did, right, that's a form of division. The Lord divided the different languages between the nations, right? So you have all these nations speaking the same language under one accord. And the first thing the Lord did was confound the languages, right? So to me, that sounds like separation, right? That's how much of a separatist that the Most High God is, right? And that's what we want our people to understand, right? The Lord said, look, I don't even want y'all talking to each other. The Lord ain't even want all these nations communicating with each other. So the first thing that the Lord did was confound the languages, right? That's why in today's world, if I'm talking to a man that's from Saudi Arabia and he's speaking to me his native language, I'm not going to understand what he's saying, right? If I'm speaking to somebody that's from China and they talking to me in their native language, I'm not going to understand them, right? Because the Lord gave different nations their own language, right? So my next door neighbors, they Mexican and they speak Spanish, right? When they start speaking that Spanish, I don't know what they saying, right? So the Lord, he confounded the languages. So you got all these different nations that got different languages, right? So let's read on.
Verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
Right. So let's stop right there. So not only did the Lord give every nation their own language, but he divided them among the earth. Right. So it was never meant for every nation to be equal or be the same. Right. That's what we want our people to get and to understand. Right. So in these last days, our people have to understand that the Lord never wanted all the nations to be together. Right. So the first thing the Lord did was give every nation their own language and their own land. Right? The Lord said, look, I don't want y'all around each other. I don't want y'all communicating. That's called separation. Right? Just think about it. Didn't the Lord say that Israel is a holy people? That means set apart. How we gonna be set apart if everybody's the same and we doing the same thing as all the other nations? Right? We can't be set apart if we around all the other nations. Right? Keeping their customs. Right? So let's read on.
Verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
Right, so the Lord scattered all the nations, right? Just like when you read in Genesis, it tell you that every nation got their own land, right? The children of Japheth, they got their own land, right? You got the children of Ham, the children of Shem, right? All the different nations had their own land, right? The Lord gave every nation their own language, right? So who had Deuteronomy 32:7?
Khan, I got you, King.
All right, so let me get there real quick. All right, Khan.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
Salakis, let's stop right there. So that's another thing that we go out there and teach our people on the streets, right? Because in today's world, our people so distracted with the things that's going on that they don't even know their own history, right? They ignorant to their own history, right? Because if they knew their history, they wouldn't have the spirit to want to be mingled with these other nations, right? That's why the Lord said, remember the days of old, right? So all of that, that situation that happened in Alabama, the Lord is trying to show our people a sign, right? In these last days, the Lord is trying to show us that there's nations of people out there that hate us, right? The Lord is trying to show our people that we have enemies. We have people that hate us, right? And it's not meant for every nation to get along, right? Because, hey, you believe it or not, it's a lot of our people that's still out there that, they kind of seen what happened, but they really don't care about it. Guess how many of our people still out there, they still want to marry the other nations, right? And like, well, Esau not so bad. Every time we go out there on the streets, we see interracial couples, right? Our sisters out there walking around with Esau, right? Our brothers out there with them damn Shedemites, right? Right? After I seen that, if I was a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American woman, ain't no way in the world I'm hanging with Esau, right? If I'm Jake, ain't no way in the world I'm with these other nations, right? So let's read that again from the top, King.
Khan, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
So we got to consider the years of many generations, right? So now in these last days, it's the time to gather together as a nation, right? And stop trying to be friends and be equal and be with these other nations, right? Following their ways and their customs, right? Our people so quick to forget not too long ago in this country, right, during segregation, these people wouldn't even allow you to drink from the same water fountain. They wouldn't allow you to go to the same schools, the same stores, right? They had a big sign on the front that say no niggers allowed, right? And I remember I was doing some research and they had like these you know how they had them signs in front of certain establishments and businesses during segregation, right? Hey, guess what it said on them signs? It said no niggers allowed, no Indians allowed, no Mexicans allowed, right? So these people will letting you know straight up that they hate you, that they don't want to be around you, that they don't like you. But for some reason, our people so quick to forget about that, right? And now all of a sudden in today's world, the same people that oppressed you, all of a sudden they just your friends. Everybody get along and everybody equal now, right? Well, not too long ago, they was having signs right out front of the store said no niggers allowed, right? They had signs that said niggers can't drink from this water fountain, right? Not too long ago, our people was in the slave fields getting whipped, getting lynched, right? They was skinning our people. The so-called white man was skinning our people, right? They had some called nigger skin wallets, right? They had nigger skin shoes, right? They was making shoes and wallets out of us. But our people just forgot about that. Our people don't do no research. They don't go into no history, right? They just so quick to forget about that, right? And they had some not too long ago, right, during slavery, after slavery, called sundown towns. Y'all ever heard of them sundown towns?
Con.
Right. So for those who don't know, it was a certain time period where if you was so-called black, right, in certain states and cities, if you got caught outside at night at a certain time, basically, the so-called white people, they could do whatever they wanted to do to you, right? If they see you out at a certain time, if they wanted to arrest you, they can do it. If they wanted to jump you and beat you to death, they could do it, right? If they wanted to lynch you, then they can do that, right? Basically, it was like a purge night, right? They see any so-called black people in a certain city at nighttime, and they can do whatever the hell they want to, right? Just think about how many of our people was killed, right? You get caught in the wrong town at night, and you didn't, you know what I'm saying? They done snatched you up and tortured you, right? Beat you to death, right? So the Lord is trying to show you that it was never meant for us to all be equal, right? It was never meant for us to be friends with these other nations, right? And everybody just come together, right? So read on, King.
Come, ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
Wait a minute, read that part again.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
Right. So the Most High God divided the nations their inheritance, and we just read that in Genesis, right? At one point in time, all the nations they had the same language and they was under one accord. But the Most High God, He separated all the nations, right? That's why all the different nations, they got their own land, right? They got their own heritage, their own customs, right? Every nation got their own gods that they worship, right? So the Lord divided the nations, right? So read down to verse 9.
Con. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam,
Wait, no, I thought the Lord brought everybody together.
when he separated the sons of Adam, he
Right,
set
so it
the
said he separated the sons of Adam, right? So read on.
he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For Yahweh's portion is his people.
No, I thought the
Jacob,
Lord was for all people,
for Yahweh's portion is his people.
but in Christianity they say if you have faith and believe on Jesus, then you could be saved.
For Yahweh's portion is his people.
But the Christian pastor told me that salvation is for the Jews and the Gentiles.
For Yahweh's portion is his people.
You see that it's plain and simple. For the Most High God's portion is his people. Like I said, Deuteronomy 7:6, right? The Lord said we are holy and set apart people, right? So yes, according to the Bible, the Most High God has a chosen people, right? So our people have to get out of this mind state where we are equal and we are the same. If everybody's equal, why can't the other nations do the things that we do, right? Right? Why don't the so-called white man have melanin like us? Right? Why does he get skin cancer and sunburn? Right? We can't be equal, right? Even genetically, that's proven to be false, right? Why can't all the nations do the things that we do when it comes to sports, right? Music, dancing, singing, right? So it said that the Lord's portion is his people, right? That was it on that. Well, can you read verse 9 again?
Deuteronomy 32 and verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Right. So the Lord's portion is his people, right? Hey, Shalak, can you give me Sirach 17 and 17? And Shapar, can you give me Psalm 83 and verse 1?
Con.
All right. Let me get the Sirach real quick. All right, you could bring that out.
Con, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 17, verse 17. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth.
Hold on, in the what?
For in the division of the nations.
Right. So it said in the division of the nations, right? It's the same thing that we just read in Deuteronomy 32, where it said the Lord divided the nations, right? So this is another account. This is another witness, right? Showing you that the Lord divided the nations. Everybody's not the same, right? Everybody is not meant to be equal, right? And that's why that's why it's so important that our people, read the Old Testament and the Apocrypha, right? That's why your pastor don't want you to read these books. He telling you in the church that all you need to worry about is the New Testament, right? Because he don't want you to understand the scriptures, right? How the hell you go understand the Bible when you only reading a portion of the book, right? You threw away the whole Old Testament and you read the New Testament, and now you just know the whole Bible, right? That don't make sense. That's why we have to bring out these accounts. Because when you understand the Old Testament, then you can fully understand what's going on in the New Testament, right? So they tell you these things to confuse you, right? That's why they in the church they keep you away. A lot of churches they keep you away from reading the Old Testament and reading the Apocrypha, right? But the last time I checked, wasn't Christ and the disciples, weren't they quoting from the Old Testament, right? How you gonna tell me to believe in Christ and but not to read the Old Testament? And Christ was quoting from the Old Testament, right? Christ and the disciples, they was quoting from the book of Isaiah, right? They was quoting from the book of Psalm, right? They was quoting from the book of Joel, Hosea, right? Genesis. They was quoting from the Old Testament, right? Because when you understand the Old Testament, then you will fully know that it's not meant for every nation to be together and to be equal, right? The kingdom of heaven is not for every nation, right? When you understand the Old Testament and the Apocrypha, then you would know that God don't love everybody, right? And that when you read the Old Testament, hey, the Lord was putting a lot of people to death. You know how many wars was going on in the Old Testament, right? You know how many people got put to death. It was a lot of bloodshed during these wars when you read through the Apocrypha, the Old Testament, right? But hey, like I said, your pastor, he don't want you to know that, right? And when I was in church, they was telling me, hey, God is all love, Jesus loves everybody. Hey, they got a song, hey, King Raham, he pulled this up a couple months back. They got a song out on YouTube where they say that Jesus loved the little children. And they got this like this little cartoon where you see all these little Edomites and you know they playing Ring Around the Rosie, you feel me? And then they got Caesar Borgia in the middle and they talking about Jesus loves the little children. You know what I'm saying? That's madness, right? That don't make no damn sense, man. Right? Right? And that's why the Lord said, he said, if this was my kingdom, my servants will fight. Right? So why are they telling you in church that Jesus or Christ is all love, right? When the Lord was about war. He said, if this was my kingdom, my servants would fight. Right? So if Jesus loves everybody, who is he coming back to rage war on? Right? So let's finish that off in Sirach 17.
For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people, but Israel is the Lord's portion.
Right, and there it go again, like we just read in Deuteronomy 32. Right, the Lord divided all the nations, but Israel is his portion. Right, right. So I just wanted to bring that out, you know, to go into the beginning, right, to show our people that according to the Bible, it was never meant for all nations to be together and for all the nations to be equal under one accord. Right, the Most High God divided the nations. Right, He gave everybody their own language, their own land, their own heritage. Right, you got when you read Genesis, certain nations had their own blessings. Right, but the rulership in the kingdom of heaven and salvation was only promised to the children of Israel. Right. Hey, Shapar, can you pull up that first video? Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakathon, to all the brothers and sisters that's tuning in. Hey, Salah, hey, Kazak, Can you give me the book of Exodus, chapter 2 and verse 11?
Con, you want
Right.
it now?
No, just hold on to it for right now.
Con.
And right, we gonna play this video. So for those that's tuning in, like I said, we all know what happened in Alabama last week, unless you've been hiding up under a rock, right? So this is a video about about what happened last week. I'm trying to see the title. It says Montgomery Riverfront Brawl Suspects, right? So we go get into some of this video, right? So you could go ahead and if you could like blow it up. Con.
We have an update on the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl.
You see that? So let's stop right there. Right? So like I said, everybody knew what happened, last week. Everybody know about this famous brawl, right? That happened last week. So basically, to go into the situation, what they were saying was it was the brother that got jumped in the beginning. He was one of the workers that worked there, right? And he was basically trying to tell them Edomites to move their boat out the way, right? And then from there it spiraled into this, right? So who was holding Psalm 83 and 1?
King, I got it.
All right, so we go bring that out real quick, and then we go start this video back, right? All right, so we got to show the people why these things is happening on the earth, because a lot of people still don't understand. You got a lot of our people that that seen what happened and they just confused. They're like, what's going on, right? They're like, why are these things happening? What's going on, right? So that's our job. We go show you what's going on, right? we go show you why them Edomites jumped on our brother like that, right? And that's their true spirit, right? So that's why our people have to wake up. The Most High God is he revealing things to our people every single day. He trying to show you the true nature and the true colors of the so-called white man, right? The Most High God is trying to reveal to our people that still sleep that we actually have enemies and people that hate us, right? So let's bring this out in Psalm 83.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. And it reads, a song or a psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace. Be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Right? So it says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee. Right? So according to the Bible, there's nations of people that are enemies to the Most High God and his chosen people. Right? According to the Bible, there's nations of people that hate the Most High God and his chosen people. Right? So hold on, I think somebody trying to come in. Let me let them in real quick.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Shabrakatah.
Oh, they in.
Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshua
Shalom,
Hey,
Cap.
Shalom, Captain Shuv, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Hey, Shalom, King Shu.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.
So read that again from the top, King.
Khan, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. A song or a psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Right. So, like I was going into, this is telling you that it's nations of people that hate the Most High God and His chosen people, which are the Israelites. Right. Right. So, like I said, that's why people have to understand what's going on, and they have to pick up this book and read it. Right. So, according to the Bible, the other nations hate the Lord and His people. Right. So it was never meant for all the nations to be equal or to be under one accord, right? So read on.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation.
Right? So all these other nations gathered together and they said, let's cut them off from being a nation, right? And that's what all these other nations come together to do, right? To deceive our people, right? Why you think they don't teach us our history? You know, we the only nation of people that don't know our history, right? When you go to these other countries, they teach their children about their history, right? All the school systems in China, they teaching their kids about their history, about all their great emperors, right? Of all their kings, right? When you go to India, they teaching their kids about their history, right? When you go to all these African countries, they teaching their kids about their history, right? But when you come to America, they doing the same thing. They teaching their history, but they're not gonna teach our people our history, right? But what you gonna come to find out is that our history of the Israelites, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, our history is in this Bible, right? So that's to brainwash us. I can go to any school in any inner city, and they're gonna be teaching our kids about their history. You gonna be learning about George Washington, right? Sam Houston, Abraham Lincoln, right? Christopher Columbus, right? You gonna learn about all the presidents, right? But guess what? They're not teaching you about your history or your forefathers, right? They're not gonna teach you about King David and King Solomon, right? They're not gonna teach you about Moses, right? The Exodus from Egypt, right? So the Lord said these other nations, they take crafty counsel, right? They said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, right? Read on.
Come, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Right, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. But guess what? A lot of these other nations, when you go to the what they call the Middle East, when you go into all these different countries, a lot of them people know who you is, but they're not gonna tell you that, right? Hey, there's plenty of videos and stuff out there where you could go and brothers be going to different countries and stuff, and they ask the native people, right, who are the real Jews? They gonna say, oh, it's the black people, right? They'll tell you that straight up. Like you go to some parts of these other countries, you go to India, right? You go to Saudi Arabia, they know who the real Jews is, right? Right? They'll tell you that the so-called black man is the real Jew, right? But guess what? They're not gonna teach you that here, right? They don't want us to know who we truly are, because when we wake up and we find out our true heritage and our true nationality, guess what that means for all the other nations, right? That means their power and their rulership is coming to a naught, right? And it's gonna be our time to rule over all the nations the same way that they ruled over us, right? So let's read on.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom.
Right. So now it's naming off all the different nations that, remember at the beginning it said verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So this naming off the enemies of the Most High God and his chosen people and the nations that hate us. And the first nation that it named was the nation of Edom, right? Right. So let's read on.
Come, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have Hopen, the children of Lot.
Right. So that's going into all these other nations, right? The so-called white man, right? All the Asian nations, the Chinese, the Japanese, right? All the so-called Arabs, the East Indians, all the African nations, right? All these nations come together, right, and deceive our people, right, and cut us off from being a nation, right? And they show you that, right? On a daily basis, they show our people how much they hate us, right? They don't got no respect for our people, right? Just think about it. Why in our neighborhoods, all these other nations, right? They got businesses in our neighborhoods, and our people love to support them, right? But they don't ever put none of the money that they make off our people back in our community, right? They take the money that they make off our people and they give it back to their community, right? You see that? Because guess what? Where I'm from, the Arabs, they be in our communities and they set up stores where they sell our people pork. But guess what? They're not eating pork, right? They don't eat pork, but they sell it to our people, right? They don't smoke cigarettes, but guess what? They'll sell it to our people. You see that? Hey, I know some parts where I'm from. Hey, some of them Arabs, they dirty, man. They'll sell kids cigarettes to little kids if they got enough money. Shoot, they don't even ask you how old you is. You come in there, you be down 16, 17 years old. Hey, if you got enough money to get a pack of cigarettes, hey, they don't care, they give it to you. Right? Why do they do stuff like that? Because they want us to continue to be destroyed as a people. Right? Hey, the Asians, they come in our communities and they be damn in the back chopping up rats, cats, and dogs. Then they put sauce on it and tell you it's chicken, right? Hey, but they don't be eating that stuff. Hey, the stuff they be selling in our communities, they don't eat that, right? And then we spend all our money with them, and they take that money that we spend with them, and then they invest it back in their own nation, right? Right? You see that? So let's get back to this video. Hey, Salaki.
After a group of
Hey, Kazak, you got Exodus 2 and 11.
Con.
Hey, Shalak, can you give me Genesis 25 and 21?
Khan.
All right, Con. So let's play this video again from the beginning.
we have an update on the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl.
Right? So you see all them Edomites, and you see all them Edomites, how they jumping on our brother. Right? Like I said, that goes to show you the true nature of the so-called white man. And you know, all this could have been avoided if he would have just moved his boat. Right? Hey, King Shapar, all this could have been avoided. All they had to do was damn move the boat. You see that? But no, Esau got to be difficult, right? He got to be prideful. Instead of moving the boat, and he chose violence, right? You see that? All that could have been avoided, but Esau, and he just had it was in his spirit. He just had to put his hands on somebody, right? He said, "What this nigga say to me?" Right? Don't this nigga know how much money I got in my bank account? Right? Don't he know I could buy him and make him my slave? Right? He said, "Who does this nigga think he talking to?" Right? And look what happened after that. That one Edomite, he damn sucker punched the brother, right? And then the whole gang of them just came out of nowhere and they started jumping on the brother. You see that? But for some reason, our people still want to love these people. You got a lot of our people that seen this video and they still want to love these people, right? Even though they see how they treat our people, right? So you could continue to play it.
After a group of racist white men jumped a black dock worker, this individual named Aaron, who is 16 years young, jumped from the Harriet riverboat to aid the worker and tried his best to quell the melee.
Get up there, young buck! Get up there, young buck! Get up there, young buck!
Then, when the racist white dudes ran back to their boat that they wrongfully parked in the Harriet spot for about an hour, the dock workers' co-workers who saw the jumping confronted them.
I was up a minute ago. Yeah! Woo! 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 They scared. Look at them. They scared. Woo! Be that. Woo! Oh my God!
You see that?
That what you get. That what you get. Oh, time up. Oh, she went behind. She better behind the wall. In the wall. In the wall.
All right, so let's stop right there. Right? Hey, and that's a beautiful scene. Right? When I first seen this, hey, brothers was applauding them brothers, man. Hey, we was singing songs of joy, right? Hey, that was a beautiful scene. Cause hey, when the last time you seen our people stand up for each other like that? Right? Right. When the last time you seen our people unify like that? Right? Hey, most of the times when stuff like that happen, a lot of our people, they just pull their phones out. They just sit back and watch and, Hey, but now the Most High God, He putting a certain spirit on our people, right? And this ain't nothing new. Hey, this the same spirit that our forefathers had back in the ancient days, right? And it's the spirit our people got to have in these last days. You got to be willing to defend your brother. You got to be, ready to defend your nation, right? If you see another nation doing that to your brother, you got to defend your brother, right? And we applaud these, everybody that stepped in to help that brother out, right? You had the mighty young brother. They say he was only 16, and the brother jumped off the boat and he swam all the way over there just to help the brother out. You see that, right?
All praises.
All praise. See the Most High God. He rousing our people up, man. Right? He putting the spirit of war on our people in these last days. And that's the type of people that we want out there with us. And Lord willing, all those brothers and sisters, they wake up to this truth, right? And they get this knowledge. Because those are the type of spirits that we need out there with us. We need spirits, brothers with spirits that's go stand up for their people. That's gonna be there for their brother. When things go down. You see, hey, if I'm out there, man, I don't need no brothers around me that's scared, right? And a lot of these brothers, hey, believe it or not, a lot of these brothers that was involved in this broad, they got more heart than some of the brothers that's in the truth. You still got brothers in the truth talking about, man, y'all always yelling at the white man, and y'all out there doing this and that, man. That's not the way, man. That's not how you do it. Y'all always out there yelling at the white man and this and that. Sounding weak as hell. Like, bro, what is you talking about? Right? You got people out here, man. Y'all always, man, y'all be out there, man. Y'all don't be teaching nobody. Y'all just be out there yelling at the white man. Right? Brothers be scared. That brothers don't be at camp. They don't be doing no teachings. Right? They don't be doing nothing. They just be at home scoffing, talking, y'all, why y'all always yelling at him, man? Man, y'all always yelling at Esau. Right? Hey, man, them weak ass Negroes, man, hey, y'all can stay away from us. Right? The Most High God is putting the spirit of war on us. Right? So if you scared, you need to stay at the crib. I don't even want you around me. Right? I'm led to believe, man, if you crying and whining like that, if something like this go down, you probably go run away. You ain't gonna be nowhere to be seen. Right? But that's how we supposed to be for our brothers. We supposed to stand up for each other. We supposed to have each other backs. Right? Right. So who had that in Exodus 2 and 11? Right? Because this same situation happened, back in the ancient world, like we saying. Right? This is the same spirit that Moses had. Right? So who
I
had
got
that?
you.
You got it. Exodus 2 and 11.
Con.
Right? Because when you seen what happened when that Edomite, he sucker punched the brother, and then all the rest of the Edomites jumped on him. Then you start to see Jake. Hey, Jake came out of nowhere, and he helped the brother out. Right? He was there for his brother. Right? So let's read that in Exodus 2 and 11.
Con. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 2, and verse 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew.
Wait a minute. Hold on. He did what?
And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew.
So Moses seen an Egyptian, right? Somebody of another nation smiting one of his brothers, right? Just like in this situation, our people was watching those Edomites jump on our brother and attack him, right? So let's see what Moses did when he seen the Egyptian smiting his brother. Right, let's read on.
Verse 12. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian.
Wait a minute, he did what?
He slew the Egyptian.
Hey, Moses, hey, he seen the Egyptian putting hands on his brother. Hey, Moses got so hot. He jumped in and he slew him. He put him to death. He killed him. Right? He said, man, this damn heathen putting his hands on my brother. Right? And that made Moses so hot. He jumped in and he killed the Egyptian. Right? Right? And what else did he do?
He slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
Hey, that's cold. Hey, Moses put him to death and he hid the body. He said, ain't nobody gonna see this. Right? He put his ass to death. He hid him in the sand. He caught a body and he hid it. And Moses was cold. You feel me? Right? Hey, that's the same spirit. That's the same spirit our brothers had down there in Alabama. Right? They seen a modern day Egyptian, right? The so-called white man putting his hands on their brother, right? They say, hell no, nope. This ain't the 1940s and 50s and 60s no more, right? They say you ain't finna do that to my brother, right? Like I said, that's the same spirit that Moses had, right? So just like Moses, hey, we gotta be there and defend our people, right? Hey, it vexes our spirits to see, situations happen, unfortunate situations where, these other nations get the upper hand on our people and we don't get no justice for it, right? All the things that we went through, right? Seeing all the police brutality on our people, right? All the things that, the history that we go into about Emmett Till and all our brothers, during slavery, during segregation, that was beat, that was tortured, lynched, killed, right? It was a point in time you couldn't even talk to an Edomite. And you say good morning. He said, what you say, boy? Right? What you say to me, boy? And then a whole mob of Edomites, they'd snatch you up and then they'd beat you to death. Right? Hey, the Lord is trying to show you these people ain't changed. You can't believe these people. That's why the Lord said, never trust thine enemy. Right? I bet if we was on the streets teaching and all those Edomites that was involved in that brawl, if we seen them walking up the street and we went into the history about slavery, and they would have said the same thing as all the rest of the Edomites. Well, that was my forefathers. I didn't do anything to you guys. Right? I would never do that. Right? Oh, really? Right? That was my forefathers. I had nothing to do with it. I love black people. Oh, really? Right? That's why you can't trust these people, man. Right? They go say, "Oh yeah, I would never do that." Right? I love you guys. I got black friends. But hey, the Most High God is He revealing their true colors. It's time for our people to wake up and actually understand and pay attention to what's going on. This should be a wake-up call to our people. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? Right? All you people out there say, well, everything is all love and we're all equal, right? Oh, really? Did they treat our brother equal? Right? When they jumped on him, the damn Edomite sucker punched him, right? Ain't nothing new under the sun. These are the children of the people that had us in captivity, that was lynching us, burning us alive, feeding us to alligators, right? And their true spirit is showing in these last days, right? So that was it on that in Exodus. So let's finish playing this video. And Kazak, can you give me Psalm 52:1?
Con.
Because y'all were wrong. You song.
Damn.
And the brawl ensued. When the going got tough, one of the bigots dipped and went into the water.
There you go.
Yes, they should have. Then in the distance, another melee began. Via Newton on Facebook, two men start scrapping. A third jumps in and throws hands, swings, misses, then gets pummeled. The ladies, not wanting to be left out, deliver an kicking to the woman in red. From there, we get a picture of this man with a folding chair making contact over and over with the opposition. A live interview
Hey, Salaki.
afterward would take place.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
Hey,
what.
Salak, hey. They wildin', but nah, that chair famous now, man. Everybody know about that chair, man. Hey, Jay was putting in that work with that chair, man. Right, that chair known around the world now, right? Right. So,
Hey,
like I
Salak.
said, no, go ahead, Ken.
Hey, Salakia, that last scene right there, that seemed like a bunch of elders out there, man. Like even the elders of Israel was getting loose, man. Like the one brother in the white hat, he wasn't playing. The one elder with the blue shirt, he wasn't playing. And then when Cuz grabbed that chair, oh man, it was on like Donkey Kong. He started just smashing everything.
Right. Hey, like I said, hey, the Most High, he putting that spirit on us, man. Right. All right. Ain't no telling what that Jay felt in this spirit, man. He probably, hey, it's a lot of history out there in Alabama, man. He probably know that his parents was slaves, right? He probably could trace his roots all the way back to slavery, right? Growing up in Alabama, if you were a certain age, you probably grew up saying some wild stuff, right? I can only imagine, hey, if you in your 60s and you grew up in Alabama, man, I can only imagine what you seen as a child, right? Hey, so the Most High, he put that spirit on them. But you could finish playing it.
That was actually my husband that was down there at that riverboat brawl. And well, he whispered over to Pop Pop and he said, hey, if you need some help, I want to be a part of the fray. Go ahead, pick me up, and then I'll do the rest. Okay, that's what happened. Okay, now my husband is busy recuperating and recovering. You know what I mean? He lost a little paint in the whole melee, but he is doing fine. But I just wanted to get on here and let y'all know that that's what happened. Okay, so the folding chair that Pop Pop was using, that's my husband, and he is back home recovering and recuperating. You're welcome.
Genius. One of the best moments was this man posing for a photo, though, knowing we were all taking in history. I'll bet you can guess where some of the worst takes were on this.
So you guys are celebrating, jumping on these people, but really, you all should be embarrassed. And everybody who's
I have been waiting for a white person's hot take. Oh, waiting.
Shar Bates on TikTok dragged this man, rightfully so.
This man said, what if the tables were turned and black people were being abused by white people as white people cheered? Welcome to every day of the lives of black folks in the United States. So were you fighting for this shame when they were feeding black babies to alligators? Were you fighting people to feel bad when they were having picnics beneath the burned and disemboweled bodies of lynched black folks? Were you fighting for white shame when they were hosing down black people and sicking dogs on them for asking for equality? Were you clamoring for white people to take accountability and feel bad when they were killing members of SNCC and all types of activists? And when that doctor spit in the face of a dying Martin Luther King?
We're not done.
Not one comment or anything.
Hey, let's stop it right there.
Your social media
Hey, that sister was bringing it out though, right? Like I said, why should we care about these damn devils after all the things that they did to us, right? Stealing this land from the so-called Native Americans, right? Murdering millions of our people, right? Kidnapping us from the west coast of Africa and bringing us over here to be slaves, right? And the so-called white man, he wants you to feel some type of remorse for him. I mean, that don't make no damn sense. He said, "What if it was He talking about what if it was a group of white guys that jumped on black? That's what the hell happened at the beginning. What the hell is you talking about? that's literally what happened at the beginning. The brother simply told the damn Edomite, the damn devil, to move his boat, and then all hell broke loose. And then it was a gang of Edomites jumping on our brother, right? Right." So, hey, we ain't gonna feel no remorse for the so-called white man. You feel me? Right? We don't give a damn about them. Hey, we rejoicing right now. Hey, when this happened, hey, we was out there, we was drinking it up. You feel me? We was toasting it up. Hey, all praises to Yahweh Shah. Right? Hey, we want to see some more Edomites get their ass whooped. All right? Hey, all praises. All right, so you can skip up a little bit, Ken. All right, you can play it right there.
Somebody says white privilege, and you want to clutch your pearls and say, I don't have any white privilege. Just remember that when a white woman who entered a brawl got hit in the face with a chair in that brawl, you thought that she shouldn't have been hit in the face with a chair as part of a brawl because she was a white woman. There you go.
But let's get back to that second dude.
Not one comment or anything on all of your social media content.
Jean Jacket Jeff, is this you? Men, are you tired of dating these modern American women who keep complaining that men are the enemy? May I suggest a passport to other countries where women are virtuous and don't have as many mental issues and anxiety as our American women do? In modern day American culture, underage girls dress to...
I think that's it on the video. That's all I wanted. You could pull up that other video, right? Hey, look, we got a scoffer in the comment section. Y'all see that?
We got a scoffer, man. We got a scoffer, yo.
Romel Tucker. All right, hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. It says, because Christ says forgive, and if you don't forgive, then God will not forgive you. Yeah, that's talking about your own people, your own brother, not these other nations. All right. Hold on, let me get that real quick. Right, let me get that real quick, man. Right, and this is why people got to pay attention, right, to what's going on, right? Because you got people coming out here with these statements with no scriptures. So let me get this real quick. This the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not, it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Right? Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Right? So you can't bear any grudge against the children of your people, right? That's not talking about every nation, right? So yeah, you're supposed to forgive your brother, the people of your own nation. That's not talking about everybody, right? And we go get into that too. It says, how do you say all praises to wickedness? Brother, what are you talking about? What is wickedness? Because our people defended themselves against the so-called white man that damn near killed our brother. Hey, imagine if the people that jumped in the people of our people that jumped in and helped the brother out. Imagine if they didn't help the brother. Do you know what the hell them Edomites would have did to our brother if ain't nobody jump in to help him? Hey, what you think they would have did? Right? Just imagine what they would have did. Matter of fact, imagine if nobody was around. Imagine if they was in the middle of nowhere and it was just that one brother and them out there. And they probably would have hung the brother. They would have lynched him and set him on fire. Right? They probably would have cut his arms off. Right? Ain't no telling what these damn devils would have did. But you talking about how do you say all praises to wickedness? But what the hell are you talking about? Right? Man, I tell you, and it be our people too, right? That always want to justify the acts and the works of the so-called white man, right? You see this?
Hey, Salakia King. That was like last week when I brought that up. Last week, our people, they're tender-hearted people, but they got to start being more tender-hearted towards our own people. Why
Right.
is it, man, that we always trying to seek salvation for all the other nations, right? We're always trying to save the other nations, but the other nations, all they do is worry about their self and how they can get salvation. We're the only people that try to put everybody in this thing. We're the only people that try to look out for everybody, and we're only people taught to try to save everyone, right? When all these other nations, they're just trying to figure out how they can get into the kingdom and how they can get a part of the pie. But our nation, we're the only one who want to try to seek and help and plead for all the other nations when all they did was from the minute we left out of Egypt was try to destroy us, man.
Right, that's right. You see that? And like the brother Kazak put in the chat, it say Stockholm syndrome. Hey, that's exactly what a lot of our people got. Right? That's why they can't understand. And he said, show me where it says your own brother. Oh, we just read it to you in Leviticus 19. Right? It said, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Right? So Romel Tucker. Yeah, so brother, you gotta come with some scriptures, right? Right. And I
Hey,
hope you're not
Salakia.
who that. Oh, Shalom,
Hey,
Captain Ron.
yeah, Con. Somebody get Matthew 18 and 15 because he said your own brother.
I got it. This is the book of Matthew, 18, chapter, verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established.
Hey, Salakia. But yeah, that's ultimately what I want to get was verse 15. The brother, I don't know who Romel Tucker is, but he says, show me where it says your own brother. And Yahushua spoke those words and literally said your own brother. Like basically, we talking about Israelites. Like I think Yashawan brought out that scripture where it says if thy brother trespass against thee. Oh, Salakia. Now that's the one I brought out. But the other one he brought out, because I'm coming in and out. But that's where Yahushua got that scripture from. It all goes back to your fellow Israelite brother, your neighbor. I'm a mute real quick, but that's what I want to show Romel the answer to his question.
All praises, right? Right. And that's what our people gotta understand. Right. The so-called white man is the one that taught you that the Bible was a universal book and that it applies to everybody, right? But it only applies to our people, right? He said, bring me on. You see that? Are the Pharisees your? Hold on, let me pull this stuff up for the people to see.
Hey, pull them up. See if you can pull them up there.
Let me see.
He said, read Ephesians 2.
No, we're gonna pull you up, buddy.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I don't know how to pull them up unless I can. It's a way I can send them the link.
He gotta, you gotta send him a link by, you gotta tag him in it. You gotta tag the link to him.
Yeah, I don't even know how to.
It's cool. What's his name? Romello.
Romel Tucker, yeah.
Romel Tucker.
Romello. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mello. Hey, listen, man. Hey, come up here next Wednesday, all right? And we'll bring you up on the stage, all right? And you can state your cause, man. How about that? All right.
Yeah. Hey, come back, man, and we can discuss whatever you want to. All right. I don't know if the brother a Christian. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to. He said put the link in the YouTube chat. I don't know. I don't think I could do it unless I leave out of here. Unless somebody else could do it. All right.
Now you would have to do it the same way you shared it into the other joint. You would have to share it in here too.
Yeah, but I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
So I have to leave off of here and then come back in. All right, but yeah, brother Romel Tucker. Yeah, just come back next week, man. And we'll bring you on Warzone Wednesday, and we can discuss whatever you want to.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
we not interrupting the class, man. What's your asking what's your premise, man? What do you got a problem with, Romel? And we can deal with it next Wednesday. How about that?
He said, I'll be here. He said, I'll be here if it be the Lord's will. All praises. All right, all praises, brother. All right, yeah, come up with a topic, whatever you want to talk about and dialogue about, and we'll get to you next week. All right. All right, hey, Shapar, can you play that other video I sent you at the bottom? And who was holding Genesis 25 and 21?
Khan, that was me.
All right, and Kazak, you got Psalm 52 and verse 1.
Khan.
All right, Khan, all praises. All right, so let's play this video. You see that? So it's just this is showing another video. This is showing another video to what happened in Alabama, right? Right. So as we see, like I said, right, you got all these Edomites, right, jumping on our brother, right? Damn, that Edomite right there, red as hell. You see his back? Damn, that Edomite red as hell. Damn.
Like a hairy garment.
Right. Right. So we go finish this off and then we go get to that in Genesis.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
All right. Right. So that was, like I said, that was just another video to what happened last week. But we go get to this Genesis 25, right? So we just go over these accounts, you know, go into the origins of these, you know, of the things that's going on today, right? Because some people don't know, right? They're like, you know, why did this happen? What's going on, right? But the things that we see today is nothing new. These things was going on back from since the beginning, right? So we go into the origins and show you why the so-called white man hate us so much, right? And why he despise our people, and that why we have so much conflict between our nation and his nation, right?
Hey, Salati, Yashwan, did you respond to that right there, that comment?
No, I think Ron talking to him on the YouTube thing, on the chat.
So, I bet.
All right, so let's get to this Genesis 25 and 21.
Khan, this is the book of Genesis 25 and 21.
Hold on, let me get there real quick.
Khan.
All right.
No. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her.
All right, so we all know this account, right? So you had Isaac and his wife Rebekah, right? And it said the children struggled together within her. So these two children, even in the womb, they was going at it with each other, right? So let's read on.
And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Right, so there go the word separated again, right? Remember we read in Deuteronomy in the book of Sirach, the Lord said he divided the nations and he separated the sons of Adam, right? So the Lord is about separation, right? Like we read in Genesis 11 about the Tower of Babel, when the Lord scattered the different nations abroad, right? So the Most High God is about separation between the nations, right? So it said, verse 23, it says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, right? So this talking about 2 different nations, right? So even though these 2 children was brothers, the Lord is telling you that one child was going to be the forefather or the patriarch of one nation, and then the other child was going to be the forefather and patriarch of another nation, right? So let's read on.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Right? So it said one of the people was going to be stronger than the other people, right? And it said the elder, the one that come out first, in the end times, he going to end up serving the younger brother, right? So that's trying to show you that the younger brother, his people going to be the strongest people, because at the end of the day, he was going to be the one that's going to be ruling, right? So let's read on.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red.
Hold on. The first came out what?
The first came out red, all over like an hairy garment.
Right. So when you read the scriptures, this the first account of somebody being red, right? It said the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, right? So before this account, every other nation had color, right? Every other nation had melanin, right? When you go into the history of all the different nations, and you go into their artifacts, all the nations was dark skinned people, right? Right. The Ishmaelites was dark skinned. The ancient Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, and the Medes. Even when you look at the ancient Asian nations, like when you look at the Chinese and Japanese, you look at their ancient pictures, they was dark skinned people, right? So this is the first account of a nation or somebody that don't have no melanin, right? So let's read on.
And they called his name Esau.
Right. And when you go into that word Esau, like a lot of us know, Esau means wasted away, right? Because these people don't have no melanin, right? And it said he came out red. What nation of people on the earth is red today, right? That's only talking about one nation. Like I said, everybody else got melanin, everybody else brown skin, everybody else got color. Even when you read Genesis chapter 2, and I believe it's verse 7, it tell you that the Lord created man from the dust of the ground. Right? What color is the dust of the ground? It's brown. So that's telling you all the nations are brown skinned people. But now it's telling you that Esau and his nation, the child, he came out red, right? Hey, I was looking at some of y'all probably seen this already, but in Florida, they had a what they call it, a sunburning contest or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Y'all heard about that?
Yeah,
I think Yahshua was the one that put the pictures in the chat last week, right? But they had a sunburning contest. These Edomites, it was this group of Edomites on the beach. They was in Florida and they had a sunburning contest. All you seen was a whole beach full of red Edomites, right? Matter of fact, we could probably pull it up on I don't know if you could find it on YouTube, Shapar. Type in sunburning contest in Florida. All you seen was a bunch of red Edomites, right? And he could probably pull it up. Right? So it said the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. right? You don't see it? Well, they probably ain't got no. I wonder if you could pull the pictures up on Google. One of the Damn, I wish I would have saved one of those pictures. Man, them Edomites, man, they was red as hell. Yeah, you probably ain't gonna find it on YouTube, right? But it's all good though. I mean, the people that I know some people probably seen it and they know what we talking about, right? In Florida, they had the I think it's all over social media and stuff like that. But they had that sunburning contest, them Edomites, and they was on the beach, man. They was red as hell, right? So let's read on. You there, Shalak?
Khan.
Let's finish reading on verse 25.
Khan. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Keep going.
Khan.
Okay. Verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
Right, so let's stop right there. So remember, the Lord said these gonna be two different manner of people, right? So not only did it give you Esau's description, but it's telling you the characteristics of Esau, right, and his descendants. It said that Esau, he was a cunning hunter and he was a man of the field, right? So who was that talking about, right? See, we know that's talking about the so-called white man, right? I mean, what other nation of people be on TV? They be on the Discovery Channel, right? And Animal Planet, and they be in the jungles and the forests, and they be in the oceans, and they be hunting down all the animals, right? Why you think all these species of animals going extinct, right? Who killing all the animals, right? Who hunting down all these animals and putting them in a damn zoo? Hey, you know what's crazy about Esau, man? Esau so much of a damn devil that he even put the damn animals in slavery, right? Right? He not only put people in slavery, he put animals in slavery, right? And he called it the zoo, right? He be going hunting down all these animals and taking them out their natural habitat, and then he put them in a damn glass box and make money off them, right?
So, Lucky, I got a precept for that.
Come on, go ahead, bring it up.
Proverbs 12:10. A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
Right. Right. So it said that the wicked is cruel, right? That's what Esau do. Right? He hunt down the damn animals and he put them in slavery. Right? He kidnapping all the lions and the tigers and the apes, gorillas, all the birds, the penguins, any animal that you could think of. Right? He damn hunting them down and he putting them in slavery, in captivity. And he feeding them scraps every day. Right? He put them in the zoos and he make money off them. Right? And we wonder why all the animals going extinct and all the animals just disappearing. Right? And that's what Esau do, man. He destroying the earth. Right? That's why the Lord say Esau is a cunning hunter. Right? So let's finish that verse off.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Right? And Jacob was a plain man. That's talking about our forefather Jacob. dwelling in tents, right? We be chilling, right? But Esau, he be the one, man. He be out there rock climbing and bungee jumping and skydiving and doing all kind of crazy stuff. He be in the damn jungles messing with the lions and the tigers, and I know no man in his right mind is gonna be hanging around no damn wild lion, right? Esau be on TV talking about he be down on Animal Planet, right? He be out there with the lions and the tigers and taking pictures and videos and all kind of stuff, right? So let's get Shalak, can you give me Genesis 27 and can you start at verse 34, right?
Con.
So like I said, we had to take it all the way to the beginning and show our people why these things is happening. Why the Most High God is putting the spirit of race wars on the earth today, right? Like I said, when was the last time you seen a group of brothers fight back in that type of situation, right? Right? Why did the so-called white man hate you so much? Why did they jump on our brother like that, right? Why did they have us in slavery for over 400 years, right? Why did Dylan Roof go into that church in South Carolina and kill our people, right? Why did Peyton Gendron go into that supermarket in Buffalo and kill our people? Why do these type of things happen, right? So we go get into it. Read what you got in Genesis 27.
Con, verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. Keep going.
Con.
And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He take away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he hath said, Hast thou not reserved the blessing for me?
Right? So that goes back to the beginning, right? This is why the so-called white man hate us, right? It said that Jacob, and we all know this account as well, when Isaac, right, he was finna pass away, and usually you give your blessing to the firstborn son. So Esau was supposed to get the blessing, but remember the prophecy said in Genesis 25 that the elder was gonna serve the younger, right? So even though Esau was the elder child, it was prophesied that he was gonna serve Jacob, right? So Isaac told Esau to go in the field and make him a sacrifice, but Rebekah, right, made it to where Jacob he tricked Isaac into thinking that he was Esau, and instead of giving Esau the blessing, he gave Jacob the blessing, right? So that's why Esau said he took away his blessing and the birthright, right? So let's jump down to verse 38.
Con, verse 38. And Esau said to his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac answered said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
Right, so let's stop right there. So Esau got his blessing. He got the fatness of the earth. Right now he's living in his kingdom, right? But the difference between Esau's blessing and our blessing is, like it tell you in Daniel 7 and 18, right? it say the saints go take the kingdom, and our kingdom go be forever and forever and ever, right? See, all these other nations, they had their time to rule for a certain position of time, right? All these other nations had their time to rule, but it came to an end, right? But the only kingdom that's gonna rule forever is the kingdom of Israel, right? So Esau still got a blessing. Hey, Isaac said he go get the fatness of the earth, right? So Esau, he the one that rule the world right now, right? He the one that go into all these other countries and nations, and he rape, rob, and murder, steal everything, take up everybody's resources, right? So he the one that's in control right now, right? But like it say in Second Esdras, it say Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So Esau, and he only go rule for really his time really coming to an end right now, right? Esau, he finna be up out of here, right? Right, and all that was predestinated from the beginning. Cause just imagine if Esau would have got the birthright and he would have got the blessing, right? What if Esau was the one that was go have everlasting life, right? What if Esau's kingdom was the kingdom that was gonna rule forever, right? You know how wicked the world would be, right? The Lord said, Jacob, our kingdom is gonna rule forever. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. And Daniel. Right, this Daniel 7:18, it says, but the saints of the Most High, and we all know the saints is the Israelites, right, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, right? So our kingdom gonna be forever, right? But what if it wasn't that way? What if Esau would have kept the blessing and the birthright, and his kingdom was the one that was gonna last forever? Hey, the Most High wasn't gonna let that happen. Cause look at what Esau is doing with his kingdom and his power and his rulership right now. What do we see in Esau's kingdom? Right? Right? All you see is homosexuality. Right? They promoting pedophilia. Right? You got homosexuals, pedophilia, all type of wickedness, fornication, adultery. You got bestiality. Right? You got Esau, he damn taking all the fruits and out of so like he taking all the seeds out of the fruits and vegetables, right? You got all these GMO foods, right? He putting all type of poison and chemtrails in the air, right? You can't even get a breath of fresh air, right? He putting all these chemicals in the water, right? So we don't have no healthy foods. We don't have clean water, right? We don't have clean air. Right, so Esau is destroying the earth. That's why the Lord couldn't allow his kingdom to be forever. Because if his kingdom was gonna rule forever, imagine we gonna have homosexuality forever. Imagine having pedophilia forever, right? Imagine living in a kingdom that promotes fornication forever, right? The Lord wasn't gonna allow this wicked kingdom to rule forever. Right? That's why when we come back into power, we go rule the world in righteousness. Right? So let's finish reading on.
Khan, verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And that's exactly how Esau lived. He lived by bloodshed, destruction, right?
Khan.
Right? How many so-called Native Americans did Esau murder? Right? How many so-called Hispanics and so-called black people did Esau murder? Right? Ain't Esau the one that got all the tanks? Right? He got all the nuclear weapons. Right? So the Lord said, by thy sword shalt thou live. Right? So let's read on.
And by the sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
Wait, why did the so-called white man hate us?
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
Right? So they got that same spirit. Right? That's why they hate you. They hate you because they want the things that the Lord promised to us. Right? They hate us because we the ones that's go inherit the kingdom. We the ones that's gonna be ruling in the kingdom of heaven. Right? We the people that the Most High chose. Right? So that's why they hate us. Because they know our kingdom go rule forever, but their kingdom is only temporarily. Right? So that's why the so-called white man shooting you down in the streets. That's why he putting a knee on your neck. Right? That's why he put you in the ghettos and the projects and put guns and drugs in your community. Right? Because we the ones that God chose. Right? We the ones that the Lord chose to inherit the kingdom. Right? And deep down in the spirit, he hates us for that. Right? So let's read down to verse 41. Let's finish 41.
And Esau said in his heart, the day of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob.
Right, then he go slay his brother Jacob. And that's what the so-called white man do to us on a daily basis. That's why what it says, Zechariah 11:5, he said, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Right? What happened when Dylan Roof went into that church in South Carolina and he killed our people? Then they take his ass to they took his ass to Burger King. Right? He didn't kill a whole church full of people. Well, he killed like 9 people. And now he eating that Burger King, right? He got a double cheeseburger with extra fries after he done murdered 9 people. You see that? That's how these devils get down. Right? Right? So he said, then will I slay my brother Jacob, right? And that's why the brother Romel Tucker, he talking about what forgiveness, we supposed to forgive. Right? Well, let's see if God go forgive the so-called white man for what he did to our people. Right?
Hey, Salakia. He talking about forgiveness. How come Esau didn't forgive Jacob for so-called taking the birthright?
Right. Hey, that's a good point. Right? A lot of people don't bring that up. Right? Hey, that's a good point, King. Right? So he said, why didn't Esau forgive Jacob? Right? And that's the thing. Hey, the so-called white man, he not gonna forgive you for nothing. Right? We the ones that want to forgive everybody. When everybody there ain't nobody forgiving you for what you did. Right? Right? You get caught with a gram of weed, and guess what? You get 10 years, right? And then Esau come out and damn legalize weed and you still behind bars. Right? You see how that work? Right? They don't never forgive you. Hey, you got mad Edomites out here that still talk about the things that our people did, right? People, you got these Edomites out here still talking about how bad Michael Vick was because of the dog fighting situation. Oh my God, he's so evil, right? Right? They can never forget about what we did, but when they do something, they just sweep it up under the rug. Right? Right? So that brother, he talking about, so God go forgive, right? But let's see if God go forgive Esau. Hey, Kazak, can you give me Amos 1:11? And Shalak, can you give me Hebrews 12:16?
Con.
All right, so let's see if the Lord go forgive the so-called white man for what he did to our people. All right.
I got that, Amos.
Yeah, let me get that real quick. All right. All right, Con. Amos 1:11.
Con. It's the book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 11. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
Wait a minute, I thought God was going to forgive.
I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
But I thought the Lord was supposed to forgive them.
I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
So guess what? Right, brother, what's the book, Romel? The Lord said he not going to turn away the punishment. So these people have to be punished. Right, that's why the Lord says, Zechariah 1:15, he said he saw displeased with the heathen. Right, he said he was a little displeased, but they helped for the affliction. Right? So the Most High God not going to turn away their punishment. These people have to pay for what they did to our people, whether you like it or not. Right? And matter of fact, I forgot I had this book too. And I want to bring some things out in this book. And I bring this out all the time, but I just want our people to fully understand the things that was done to our people. Because it's like our people don't meditate on stuff like this. Right? They so quick to forgive their oppressors for the horrible atrocities that they put on our people. Right? So let me bring this out in this book real quick. And this gonna go right along with the scripture we just brought out. The Lord said he ain't gonna turn away their punishment. Right? So let me bring this out, right? So I got this book. I don't know if y'all can see on the camera. Right? I'm gonna try to put it in the camera. I don't know if everybody can see it. Right? So the title of the book is called Oh Say Can You See? Right? And some of us, y'all might have heard of this book. Right, so it says, "Oh, say, can you see?" Right, and the author is Frank Zaquan Jordan. And for those who know, that's the the elder of our camp. Right, the elder, he got different books. He an author, so he got different books and stuff. But for those that's viewing, right, if y'all want to check this out, I highly recommend that y'all check out this book. Right, it's called "Oh, Say, Can You See?" Right, by Frank Zaquan Jordan. Right, so basically, this book, it go into a lot of, American history about what happened to our people during, slavery and segregation and stuff like that. Right, and it was this part of the book that I be reading, man. This is like the most disgusting part, man. I keep reading over this history right here. Hold on, let me bring this up real quick. And you got many different things that happen, in history that's recorded in this book. But I want to read this one real quick because this is the one that really catch my attention, man. I couldn't believe this when I first read this, right? Right? So I don't know if everybody can see, but I'm going to put it in the camera, right? This is just a picture. All right. Right, so it says 1906, right? It says this photograph shows 5 African American men who have been lynched in North Carolina, right? Go figure where we at right now in North Carolina, right? The same state we in right now. So it says 5 African American men who have been lynched, North Carolina, and August 6, 1906. It says Niece and John Gillespie, Jack Dillingham, Henry Lee, and George Irwin are the victims of a brutal era, victims of a brutal era where African Americans were frequently unprotected by the law. It says murdered by white Americans and denied justice by the American criminal justice system. There were a reported over 6 to 7,000 reported lynchings of blacks between the late 17 to 1800s. Negroes were slaves here in America 2 centuries prior to the reported count. Just imagine the unreported account, right? So, right, when you read stuff like that, man, it's supposed to do something to your spirit, right? You had over 6 to 7,000 reported lynchings, right? And all that blood hasn't been justified, right? What do we always bring out in Numbers 35, right? It said blood it defileth the land, and the land can't be cleansed of the blood. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick, right? Let me get that in Numbers real quick. Right, this Numbers 35 and 33, it says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. So this whole land of America is defiled with the blood of millions of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that was shed by the hands of the so-called white man, right? It says, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it, right? So guess what? That means that the people that shed our blood, their blood have to be shed, right? According to the scriptures, that's what has to happen, whether we like it or not, right? So let me go back to that in this book. So I'm gonna read this other part of this book. So this happened in 1919, right? So let me show y'all this picture. I don't know if y'all can see it. All right, let me see. Right? So it says in 1919, in Omaha, Nebraska, on September 28th, 1919, a mob of over 5,000 Americans surrounded and attacked a county courthouse and seized an innocent African American accused of assaulting a white girl, right? So it said the brother was innocent and he was accused of assaulting a white girl, right? And back during these times, situations like this happen all the time, right? It says the mob mutilated him, shooting him over 1,000 times, right?
Wow.
So I want people to really, to really meditate on stuff like this, right? Because you got, like I said, you got people, you even got brothers in the truth talking about, well, why do you guys hate the white man so much? You guys are always talking about the white man, right? People just be so damn confused when we be out there going in on Esau, right?
Hey, Salati, you gotta even look at what you said. They was Americans.
Right.
What did it say? Americans versus what was he? What did it say? A black man or what? So he
Right.
wasn't even labeled an American.
Right. That's right. You see that? So our people really don't meditate on these things. Our people think they free and everything is good now because they literally don't have the chain on their neck and they literally not in shackles, right? But we don't need to be. A lot of our people so brainwashed that they don't need to put shackles and chains on you no more. right? You like a trained dog already. Everything that come out the so-called white man mouth, our people gonna follow it, cause our people trained, right? But our people don't meditate on this history. Our people got to look at the things. I mean, I can't even imagine that. Imagine getting shot over 1,000 times. I mean, goddamn, that's a that's a damn hate crime. You know how much you got to hate somebody to shoot them 1,000 times? They already did.
The hell with a hate crime, brother. That's what you call adding insult to injury.
Right. I mean, that's insane. Right. So I'm gonna finish this off. It says the mob mutilated him, shooting him over 1,000 times. And let's listen to this part. So that was just the first part. They shot the brother over 1,000 times, and then it said before burning his body, right? And then when I first read that, like I just sat there for like 5 minutes, just thinking of like a lot of times it might sound crazy, but I'll be putting myself in these type of situations. Like I'm like, damn, like what if that was me? Like I be sitting there imagining in my mind, like, damn, how does it feel to get shot over 1,000 times? Like, damn, you get shot 1,000 times and then they burn your body. I mean, I can't even. I mean, that's just crazy. Like when I sit here and think about stuff like this, it just, I don't know, man. It make me sick to my stomach, right? It make me have a righteous indignation towards these other nations, right? So it says, subsequently, there were 25 major race riots across the U.S. in the last 6 months of 1919. The taking of trophy photos was popular at this time. So if you look at the picture closely, right, when you see the picture of the mob, you see a group of Edomites with so-called white people standing around the body as it's burning. So what they would do, they would take pictures of this stuff, right? It said the taking of trophy photos. So this was a trophy to them. They would take pictures of our dead bodies and, parade it like it was, something to be proud of, right? So, Kazak, you still got that in Amos 1:11, and I'm gonna get a few more. I ain't gonna be too long.
God. Salakia. The book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 11. Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
Right, so the Lord not gonna turn away their punishment. And our people have to understand and realize that, right? The Lord said these people gotta pay for that. Right? They gotta pay for what they did to our people in the church in South Carolina and that supermarket in Buffalo. What they did to Trayvon Martin and Breonna Taylor, right? All the people that they lynched, right? The brother that they shot over 1,000 times and set his body on fire. The Lord said these people got to pay for that, right? So now it's not the time for our people, right? You so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? To be joined together with these nations that hate you. Now is the time to gather together with our own people and love our own people, right? So let's finish that off, King.
God, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword and did cast off all pity.
Right, and he cast off all pity. That's how you know he cast off all pity when he shoot you over 1,000 times and then he set your body on fire. That's casting off all pity. He like, the hell with these niggas. I hate these niggas. Right? Shot him 1,000 times. God damn. I mean, that's just a waste of bullets at that point. You just, I mean, good gracious, you shot him 1,000 times and then burned him a lot. Well, not he was dead, but you burned his body after that, right? I mean, who,
Probably took
what,
pictures with the body too.
right? That's what they did, right? Like you said, they used to have the pictures as trophies. So they would take pictures and show it to their children, right? Look what we did to this nigger, right? And these the same people our people want to love. Well, Jimmy's not so bad, right? These the same people our people want to love, right?
Salaki.
Go ahead, Ken.
Sister asked me about the Edomites, and she said, "So do you think all of them are bad?" And I said, "There's a pit full of venomous snakes, but there's one constrictor. You jumping in?"
Right. And that's a good analogy because our people, hey, I ain't taking no chances with these damn devils, right? So you keep playing around with fire, you go get burned. Where in history have these people proven that they love us or that they care for us? Yeah, they do a whole lot of talking and they say, oh, well, I didn't do that. My forefathers did. You know, that was back in the day, right? But that's all talk. The Lord said actions are weighed. What actions have these people shown that they have any type of care for the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right?
Salakia. And what's crazy is, think about the election of Obama. So Esau even tricked our people into thinking that, hey, you know, they even elected a black man in the office, not realizing that that dude's a Hamite. So they never really elected a so-called black man in the office, and our people fell for
it. And they never will, right? That's how stuff like that go. You see that? But like I said, our people not gonna understand that, right?
Hey, look, a double up on that Salati. He was not even a whole man. When you go into his damn background, he was a damn Saudi.
And
I ain't saying the Saudi. He was a Saudi. You hear me?
Right. Yeah, him and his, you know, his I don't know what you want to call it, you know, his wife or it or whatever it is, right? I don't even know if that's a real woman, right? Right. Well, all that madness they had going on. But let's finish that off.
God. I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. But I will send a fire upon Taman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra.
Right, so the Lord said he gonna bring punishment to these people, right? Remember Obadiah, he said the house of Jacob shall be a fire and the house of Joseph a flame, but the house of Esau gonna be for stubble, right? And it's not gonna be any more remaining of the house of Esau, right? And Lord willing, we allowed to see that day, right? Where we don't have to ever see the same people that oppressed our people, right? That lynched our people, right? That shot our brother 1,000 times and set his body on fire, right? Hey, Lord willing, we live to see that day when we don't have to see these damn devils no more, right? So let me get who had Hebrews 12 and 16.
I got it.
And Can somebody give me Genesis 36 and verse 8? And I got a couple more after that. So let me get there real quick in Hebrews. All right, you can read that, King.
Con. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
Right, so let's stop right there. So that brother that was in the comments, he said God, and he's still going too. Romel Tucker, right? Right. Talking about, God forgives everybody, right? But we've been bringing out the Lord said he not gonna forgive Esau, right? He said, lest there be any fornicator or profane person, right? Who more profane than the so-called white man, right? Who more of a fornicator than the so-called white man? Like we said, what do Esau do with his kingdom? But promote homosexuality, right? Lesbianism, pedophilia, bestiality, everything that's evil and wicked, right? You can be a man and you could go to the doctor and they could transform you into a woman, right? You got men now that where they can implant the woman's parts in you and you could give birth. Now they got men giving birth, right? This what the so-called white man do with his kingdom, right? Any type of evil, wicked imagination that you can think of is being brought forth in his kingdom, right? So let's read on.
Con. Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know that afterwards, when he would have been inherited the blessing, he was rejected.
Wait a minute. I thought the brother Romel said that God was going to forgive everybody.
He was rejected.
Right? So just like we just read in Amos, the Lord said he's not going to turn away his punishment. Right? The Lord said he was rejected. Right? Right? Matter of fact, let me get this real quick in Romans. Right? It's the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Right? So the Lord said he hate Esau, and he hates the descendants of Esau. Right? So like the brother Romel, he was saying that God, God don't hate nobody, right? And God is all love and all this and that. Right? But according to the Bible, the Lord said he hate Esau. Right? He hate Esau for what he did to his chosen people. Then the Lord say, touch not my anointed. Right? Right? So we seen all the horrible things that Esau did to our people. And the Lord said he got to pay for that. Right? Then we pay for our transgressions. Right? When you read Lamentations 5 and 7, Jeremiah said, our fathers have sinned and we have borne their iniquities. So we had to pay for everything that our forefathers did. And we still paying for it to this day. So guess what? Esau got to pay for what his forefathers did. Right? That even when you read that in Isaiah 14:21, the Lord said, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers. Right? So finish that off, King.
Con. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
Right? So though he sought it carefully with tears, Esau, he ain't gonna find no place of repentance. It ain't no repenting from that. Like we just read in Amos, the Lord said for 3 transgressions, he not gonna turn away this punishment. Right? Right. So let's get that and can somebody Shapar, can you give me second Esdras 6 and 9?
Con, King, you ready for it?
Give me a second to get there. All right, I got it.
Con, this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Right, so the Lord said Esau is the end of the world. Right, so that's why you see every single day Esau's kingdom is falling. Right, that's why you see all the Most High, he bringing all these wildfires. You got all these hurricanes. Right, you got his economics, his society is falling. Right, his dollar and his money is losing value. Right, you got all these new diseases and all these pestilences and viruses. Right, you got all these mass shootings. Right, you got all hell and all different destruction coming upon his kingdom. Right, so Esau's kingdom is crumbling before our very eyes. Right, and the Lord said our kingdom is coming up next. So guess what? We have to prepare ourselves to take the kingdom. Right, so like I said, now is the time for our people to wake up and gather together as a nation. Right, and separate from the ways of these other nations. Right. So who had Genesis 36?
I can get that, King. Genesis 36, what verse?
Verse 8. And let me find this other script real quick. Let's see what I want. Let me find this other scripture real quick. All right, we're gonna bring that out, and then I got 2 more scripts, and then that's gonna be it for the night. All right, so I just want to go into some history real quick, right? All right, you could bring that out, King.
Con, it's the book of Genesis, chapter 36, and verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Right, so like we was going into that Genesis 25 when they go into the origins of Jacob and Esau, right? And it said Esau came out red. This is going into the history of the so-called white man, because a lot of our people don't know. They said, well, go into the Bible and prove that Esau is the so-called white man. Well, I already showed you his description, right? Red and hairy. I mean, it don't get no more descriptive than that. Right, it showed you his nature. It said that he was a cunning hunter, right? Going into his characteristics, right? And when you go into this, it says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir, right? So these people dwelt in the mountains, right? And the same spirit they had back then is the same spirit they got now. What group of people is that talking about? right? What group of people came from the Caucasus Mountains, right? What group of people is the original caveman, right? The original Neanderthals, right? Who was that talking about, right? So this is going into the history of Esau, right? So read on.
Con, verse 9. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons.
Right. And let's jump to verse 15 real quick. This is the point that I wanted to get, that I wanted to bring out.
Con. Verse 15. These were dukes of the sons of Esau.
So let's stop right there. It says these were dukes of the sons of Esau. And when you go into that history, when you look at the world today, that's another point that you could bring up going into Esau being a so-called white man, right? Because only one nation of people, when you go into that word duke, that's just what the Edomites called their leaders or their rulers, right? They called them dukes, right? And when you go into that word, it's only one nation of people that really give that title to their leaders and to their rulers, right? Even when you go into the history of the royal family in England, right? What do they call they leaders, right? You ever heard of the dukes, or they call them the dukedoms, right? Y'all ever heard of that?
I've heard of archdukes.
Yeah, I heard them call themselves dukes and lords and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. So they got something when you go into the royal family called dukedoms, right? And they call them dukes. Like you got certain cities that got dukes. Like you got when you go into England, they got the Dukes of York, right? Or y'all
Oh
could look
yeah,
this up. They got the Dukes of Cornwall, right? They got the Dukes of Lancaster, right? So you got all these different dukes, or they call them dukedoms, right? So that ain't nothing new. That go all the way back to Esau. Esau the only one that was calling them dukes, right? Don't no other nation use that term, right?
Con.
You
Hey,
see that?
Salaki, I don't know if you have you gone on Google and typed in who is Esau today? Have you seen that?
Is that a video?
No, if you just type in Google who is Esau today, it pulls up. It says descendants of Edom include the historical founders of Russia, China, and Japan. Esau and his offshoots from the people of Seir was important in the genesis of ancient Sparta, of early Rome, of Venice, and of Germany, and of numerous other nations. This is on Google.
Hey, that's crazy. Hey, you find
That's
something
crazy.
new. You find something new every day, right? Yeah, I never seen that before, right? So even they tell you on Google who these people is when you go into the history of the Greeks and the Romans, right? You go into the history of the Macedonians, right? Even in the book of Esther, it tell you that Haman, right? He was an Agagite, right? And we go into the Agagites descended from King Agag. When you read First Samuel, it tell you that he was the king of the Amalekites, right? And the Amalekites descend from Esau, right? And then it also tell you in I believe it's the editions of Esther. I think it's chapter 16, where it tell you that Haman, he was a Macedonian, right?
Hey, Shalakia, just to land me back on that, when you go into that word Timon, right? Because I believe in that Amos 1 and 12, it was talking about Timon and Basra. So when you go,
in verse 12.
right, so when you go into that Timon dynasty, that's what the name of the Macedonian dynasty was. Philip, Alexander, all those descendants, they called themselves the Timon dynasty. You can research that and see that they called themselves the Timon dynasty, and we know that's one of the capitals of Edom.
Right, and that's right. See that? Brothers bringing it out, going into that, that history, right? Even the Herodian dynasty, right? Like Herod's father was called the Edomite, right? You see that? And we know Herod was a so-called white man, right? So that's why we said our people got to wake up and go into this history. So in these last days, the Most High God is showing us who our enemy is. He revealing all he identifying all the ancient nations, right? So we can identify the so-called white man as the Edomites of the Bible. And we know why he doing all these things to our people and why he hated so much, right? Hold on, let me type, this might be Yahshua. Let me type him back. All right, but can you bring that out again, King? And Genesis 36.
Con. The book of Genesis, chapter 36, and verse 8. Thus
verse 15.
Oh, 15, Salakia. Verse 15. These were dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau. Duke Timon, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek.
Right, so let's stop right there. So like we just going into the different dukes. Like I said, when you go into the royal family, they give that title to, some of their leaders, where they call them dukes or dukedoms. Right? Like I said, when you look at Cornwall, right? When you look at York, Lancaster, right? You got these Edomite cities where they call their leaders dukes, right? So let me bring this out real quick. Let me get these last couple ones, right? So this the book of Psalm, chapter 140, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man." Right? And who is that evil and that violent man? Right? That's talking about Esau, right? The so-called white man. Right? And like I said, in these last days, the Most High God is revealing his true nature. Right? Like we seen that brawl that happened in Alabama, that was all started by Esau. Right? He could have chose peace in that situation, but instead he chose violence. Right? Right? The so-called white man is a bloodthirsty animal. Right? And the Most High God is revealing his wicked and his violent nature. Right? No other nation on this earth has murdered and stolen and killed and deceived more than the so-called white man. Right? So it says, "Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man." Right? So in these last days, we want the Lord to deliver us from this evil and this violent man. Right? It says, "Which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war." Right? You see that? It says, they have sharpened their tongues like a serpent's adders. Poison is under their lips, Salah. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings. The proud have hid a snare for me in cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me, Salah. Right? So like I said, right, when you look at their history, man, how many treaties did they break with the so-called Native Americans? Right? That's why the Lord said in Psalm, I think it's 55, where he said their words were smoother than butter, right? But yet were they drawn swords, and war was in his heart, right? Verse 6, it says, I said unto the Lord, thou art my God, hear the voice of my supplications, O Lord. O God, the Lord, the strength of my salvation. Thou hast covered my head in the day of battle, right? So the Lord covered our people in Alabama during that battle, right? When the last time you seen us victorious in a battle like that, right? When the last time you ever seen our people fight back like that, right? Like I said, these last days, the Most High go put the spirit on a lot of our people to fight back. Eventually, we gonna have to fight back, right? Physically and spiritually, right? Verse 8, it says, grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked, further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves, Salah, right? So like I said, hey, that's a beautiful thing that happened last week, to see our people gather together and stand up for their brother, right? And defend themselves against these other nations, right? So let me get this last one in Psalm 52, right? So we want our people to be prepared to see more of this stuff. This is just, hey, this ain't nothing, right? What happened in Alabama, right? It was a beautiful thing, but it just go get worse from now on, right? You don't think the so-called white supremacists seen that video, right? You don't think the Proud Boys and the KKK and all them seen that video? What you think that's gonna do to them? That's gonna make them even more mad and angry, right? Right? They gonna be out here trying to get their get back. They gonna be trying to hunt niggas down, right? All that did was rouse up the spirits of more white supremacists, right? So like we've been we've been bringing out for years, man. Hey, you better get prepared for these race wars. While our people out here want to love everybody and hold hands with everybody, right? And these race wars is a rising up, right? As wild as that fight was in Alabama, hey, it's gonna get a lot worse than that, right? So let me bring this out. This gonna be the last one. In Psalm 52:1. This is the book of Psalm, chapter 52, verse 1. It says, to the chief musician, Machil, a psalm of David, when Doeg the Edomite came and told Saul and said unto him, David is come to the house of Ahimelech. It says, why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? Right? And who is that mighty man that boasts himself in mischief? Right, that's talking about Esau, right? You don't think Esau know that his forefathers raped, robbed, and murdered and stole everything? Right? But what do Esau do? Don't he put up statues of his forefathers all around the country? Right? You go to Washington, D.C., you go see a statue of Christopher Columbus. Right here in Raleigh in downtown, they got a statue of Sir Walter Raleigh. Right? So they put up statues of people that murdered millions of people. They put up statues and they glorify people that own slaves, right? It says, the goodness of God endureth continually. The tongue deviseth mischiefs like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good. You see that? And like we've been bringing out, these people love evil more than good, right? That's why they promote so much wickedness in this kingdom, right? Everything that the so-called white man do promotes death. Everything that he do, it goes against the laws and commandments of the Lord. It says, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Salah, thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy thee forever. And that's the day that we waiting on. Right? Like I said, Lord willing, we still alive to see that day. The Lord said he gonna destroy them forever. Right? So out of all the nations, right, Esau, he's so wicked and so profane that the Lord, he not only go put him in captivity, but the Most High God is go annihilate every single last one of them from the face of the earth. Right? The Lord said, it said, God shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living. Salah. The righteous also shall see and fear it and shall laugh at him. And that's what we doing right now. And we cheering, we laughing at Esau. Hey, all praises to the Most High, man. Them Edomites, they got their ass whooped, right, in Alabama. So we sitting there, we laughing at Esau. He got what he deserved, right? Verse 7, it says, lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, right? And that's what Esau do, man. He trusts in the abundance of his riches, right? He think his money go save him out of all these situations, right? That's why he did what he did. Hey, that one Edomite, like I said, in Alabama, all he had to do was move the damn boat, right? But nah, Esau too prideful. He said, man, who this nigga think he talking to? Don't he know I got money, right? Don't he know I'm rich? I can do what I want to do. Man, who this nigga think he talking to, right? And that's why they did what they did, right? So this man trusts in the abundance of his riches, right? Even when you look at Kazak was bringing out in Genesis 36, right? One of the children of Esau was Eliphaz, right? And when you go into that word in the Hebrew, in Eliphaz, it literally means my God is gold, right? So Esau, he the one that trusted in his riches, right? That's what his name means. It literally means my God is gold, right? That's why even when you look on a dollar bill, it says, in God we trust. What God is that talking about? They letting you know. That's why they put it on the money. They letting you know that the money is their God. In God we trust. They put it right there in front of your face on the money. You think when Esau put in God we trust, that's talking about the Most High God, the God of the Bible? No, that's talking about his money, right? That's his God. His God is money, right? It says, lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches and strengthened himself in his wickedness, right? So that was all I had on that, right? Right? Hey, so Lord willing, man, brothers and sisters was edified, right? right? But that's gonna be the end of that lesson, right? Hey, I want to say shalom to all the brothers and sisters that tuned in to Yahweh's Camp Warzone Wednesday, right? Come back next week, Lord willing. Lord willing, I think we gonna have the mighty Captain Yahshua bring out a lesson, and hopefully we can invite this brother. I know the brother been on the comments for a while. The brother Romel, right? Lord willing, you know, if we want to bring him on, you know, he could come on. But that's gonna be the end of that. So again, I'm Brother Yahshua by Yahawada.
Shalom, Israel. Brother Shalak.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This your brother Shapar the Gadite. All praise to the Most High. That was a fire lesson, King.
All praise to the Most High.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This your brother Kazak. Mighty lesson, King.
All praises. So, like I said, again, man, we go give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. A shalom to everybody that was tuning in. And Kwame Yashala to the nation of Israel. Shalom.